What could possibly make an entire audience rise to their feet, gasp in disbelief, and cheer all at once? At this year's MBC Drama Awards, the answer came in one electrifying moment, Lee Jun-ho leaning in and sealing a passionate kiss with Yoona right on stage. The cameras flashed, the crowd roared, and whispers turned into a frenzy. Red carpet revealed is here to take you behind the velvet ropes and uncover every detail of the night that set the entertainment world ablaze. The night had barely begun. The air inside the glittering hall of the MBC Drama Awards was already charged with an energy so palpable that even the most seasoned industry veterans felt a shiver run down their spines. Outside, the red carpet had been a blinding storm of camera flashes, each pop of light capturing frozen moments of beauty, grace, and fame. Inside, murmurs and whispers floated through the room like electricity before a storm. Everyone knew this was going to be a memorable evening, but no one could have predicted how, by the end of it, they would be on their feet screaming in disbelief at a scene that would dominate headlines across the globe. It was Yoona who stole the first gasp of the evening. Draped in a floor-length gown the color of champagne under moonlight, every step she took down the aisle of flashing cameras seemed to melt into a slow-motion dream. Her hair cascaded in loose waves, her makeup a perfect blend of elegance and natural glow. When she smiled, it wasn't just a smile, it was an event. Something that made photographers lean forward, desperate to capture the exact curve of her lips. And yet, those who watched closely could sense something else in her demeanor that night. A quiet anticipation, almost as though she knew something the rest of the world didn't. Minutes later, Lee Jun-ho arrived, and the atmosphere shifted again. His suit, sharp and meticulously tailored, framed a figure that carried both confidence and ease. The way he walked up the carpet, acknowledging fans with a small wave and bow, radiated a charm that came not from arrogance but from certainty. There was no need to steal attention, he was the kind of presence that simply commanded it. For years, fans had speculated about the nature of his connection with Yoona. Their on-screen chemistry in past projects was undeniable. Their off-screen interactions just enough to keep the rumors alive. But in a world where agencies guarded their artists' private lives like national secrets, these were questions that never found answers. Part of the awards flowed smoothly, a delicate dance of scripted moments and spontaneous bursts of emotion. The winners' speeches ranged from heartfelt to humorous, and the camera panned often to the tables where the biggest stars sat. Each time the lens found Jun-ho and Yoona, a ripple ran through the audience, not because they were seated together, but because even across the space between them, there was a visible thread. A shared glance here, a fleeting smile there. At one point, during a light-hearted segment where the host teased several actors about their rumored partners, the camera caught Yoona laughing and covering her mouth while Jun-ho looked in her direction with an expression that was equal parts amusement and something warmer. The kind of look that set fan forums ablaze within minutes. Backstage, whispers began to circulate. Staff members exchanging knowing smiles. Makeup artists who had worked on both stars earlier in the evening trading cryptic comments. "Just wait until the second half of the show," someone murmured, their tone laced with a hint of mischief. No one outside that small circle could have guessed what those words truly meant. When the two were finally called to the stage together, the reaction was instant. A low hum of excitement swept through the crowd, as if everyone had collectively leaned forward in their seats. The award they were to present was important, but the details barely registered. All eyes were on the way they moved toward the podium. Yoona's gown shimmered under the stage lights, and Jun-ho matched her elegant stride for stride. Standing side by side, they exchanged a few lines of scripted banter for the cameras, their voices blending seamlessly as though they'd rehearsed together countless times. But there was a subtle edge to it, a playfulness that didn't feel entirely rehearsed. As they prepared to announce the winner, Jun-ho glanced at her, not the quick, polite acknowledgement of a co-presenter. A look that lingered, one that seemed to ask a silent question. Yoona's lips parted slightly, almost in response, and for a heartbeat, the packed hall went utterly still. It was the kind of pause that hung in the air, stretching time until it became unbearable. The applause from the winner's table barely cut through the silence. Cameras continued to roll, capturing every fraction of the moment. And then, without warning, Jun-ho stepped closer. It wasn't the slow, hesitant approach of someone uncertain. It was decisive, deliberate, as though he had made up his mind long before stepping onto that stage. His hand brushed lightly against Yoona's arm, a fleeting touch, but one that seemed to ground her in place, and before anyone could process what was happening, he leaned in and pressed his lips to hers. The gasp from the audience was deafening, quickly followed by a wave of cheers that rose like a crashing tide. Photographers surged forward, their shutters rapid-firing as if trying to capture the kiss from every possible angle. In that instant, the awards ceremony was no longer about trophies or speeches. It was about this unplanned, unforgettable moment that blurred the line between performance and reality. Yoona's eyes widened in surprise, but she didn't pull away. For a split second, it seemed she forgot the cameras, the audience, the fact that millions were watching. When they finally broke apart, her expression was a delicate mix of shock and something softer, something only those closest to her might recognize. Junho, on the other hand, wore the faintest smile, his eyes sparkling with a quiet satisfaction that left the audience wondering whether they had just witnessed a spontaneous gesture or a carefully guarded secret finally revealed. The mixed voice cracked slightly as they tried to regain control of the show, making a playful remark that only fueled the audience's hysteria. Fans in the upper balconies screamed their names, waving light sticks and banners as if they were at a concert rather than a formal awards ceremony. Some clutched their phones tightly, already uploading shaky videos to social media. Within minutes, hashtags began trending: Junho kiss, MBC Drama Awards shock, and crowd goes wild, rocketing to the top of Twitter and Instagram feeds. Behind the scenes, producers scrambled to decide how to handle the moment in the official broadcast replay. Was it a breach of decorum or the most genius ratings boost they could have asked for? Makeup artists, stylists, and crew members exchanged glances that carried more meaning than words. Whatever the truth, one thing was certain: nothing else that happened that night would overshadow this moment. And so, as the ceremony continued, the buzz never died down. Even as other winners took the stage, the audience's eyes kept drifting back to the table where Junho and Yoona sat. Between them, there was now a subtle shift, more shared glances, more unspoken words. It was as if the kiss had unlocked something that could no longer be hidden. The world outside the venue was already in uproar, but inside, the story was still unfolding. The moment the cameras cut to commercial break, the air inside the MBC Drama Awards venue felt like it had been set on fire. Conversations erupted in every corner of the room, whispers, gasps, speculations bouncing off the walls like ricocheting sparks. Some celebrities leaned toward each other, covering their mouths as they exchanged wide-eyed remarks. Others simply stared at the stage in disbelief, minds still trying to process what they had just witnessed. Yoona sat perfectly still for a moment, hands clasped together on her lap as though holding on to a lifeline. She could feel the weight of hundreds of eyes on her, curiosity in every glance. The dozens of cameras subtly pointed in her direction, even though the live broadcast had momentarily shifted away. Junho sat beside her now, expression calm, almost serene, as though nothing out of the ordinary had happened. Yet there was a glint in his eyes, a quiet defiance that suggested he knew exactly what storm he had unleashed. Backstage, producers were frantically replaying the footage. In the control room, monitors showed every angle of the kiss, the lighting catching the shimmer of Yoona's gown, the sharp lines of Junho's jaw, and the exact moment their lips met. Some crew members looked horrified, worried about the potential backlash. Others grinned knowingly, predicting the explosion of online engagement that would follow. One assistant director muttered under his breath, "It's gold, absolute gold." By the time the show resumed, the internet was already ablaze. In less than 10 minutes, tags related to the kiss had trended in multiple countries. On Twitter, fans from Korea, Japan, Thailand, and beyond were posting shaky videos from inside the venue, each clip gaining thousands of likes within minutes. Fan account uploaded a slow-motion edit of the kiss with a romantic ballad playing in the background, and it was retweeted over 50,000 times before the night was over. Instagram was no different. Photo collages of the moment appeared on fan pages, accompanied by captions like "Is this acting, or real?" and "Junho forever." Inside the venue, Yoona managed a composed smile each time the camera found her again. But her heart was pounding. She could feel the questions pressing in from all sides. Was it scripted? Why hadn't she pulled away? Did this mean what everyone thought it meant? She didn't dare glance at her phone. which she knew would be buzzing with messages from friends, her manager, and possibly her agency's PR team. Jun-ho, on the other hand, seemed entirely at ease. When another actor at their table leaned in to jokingly clap him on the back, he laughed softly, his eyes never leaving the stage. He wasn't avoiding the attention, he was owning it. Every so often, he would glance at Yoona, his expression unreadable to most. But for those watching closely, there was a tenderness there. As the ceremony neared its conclusion, the Mick tried to lighten the mood with playful remarks. "Tonight is full of surprises," they said. Audience laughing knowingly. Some moments will be remembered for the awards, and some for other reasons. The camera quickly cut to Jun-ho and Yoona. Both smiled politely, though the tension in the air was still thick enough to touch. The final award was presented and the curtain call began. The two stars were inevitably drawn into the same frame for the closing shots. As confetti rained down, Jun-ho leaned slightly toward Yoona, saying something that made her laugh, an unguarded, genuine laugh that softened the edges of her carefully composed demeanor. That fleeting moment was captured by a sharp-eyed photographer and would later become one of the most shared images of the night. Once the show officially ended, chaos shifted to backstage. Paparazzi lined the exit corridors, their cameras raised like weapons. Staff members formed human shields around the biggest stars, guiding them toward waiting vans. Yoona's team moved quickly, ushering her into a black SUV with tinted windows. Not before a few photos were snapped of her glancing over her shoulder, back toward the building where Jun-ho still lingered. Jun-ho emerged a few minutes later, pace unhurried despite the shouting reporters. When asked directly about the kiss, he only smiled and said, "It was a good night, wasn't it?" before stepping into his own vehicle. That single line, vague yet loaded with implication, be replayed on entertainment news segments for days. Within hours, every major entertainment outlet had published articles dissecting the moment. Headlines varied from the straightforward, "Lee Jun-ho kisses Yoona at MBC Drama Awards," drama, to the speculative, "on-screen love becomes real." Tabloid-style websites dove deeper, pulling together every past interview, behind-the-scenes clip, every quote that could hint at a budding romance. Talk shows replayed the footage endlessly, inviting body language experts to analyze the interaction. Both agencies moved quickly to release statements, but their words only added fuel to the fire. Jun-ho's agency stated, "The moment was spontaneous and lighthearted, meant to entertain fans." His agency echoed similar sentiments, adding, "They are close colleagues with great respect for each other." Yet the public wasn't convinced. The sincerity in Jun-ho's gaze, unplanned timing, the way Yoona had responded, these were details no official statement could fully explain away. In the days that followed, the kiss became more than just a viral moment, it became a cultural event. Magazines rushed to print special features, some framing it as the most romantic awards moment of the decade, others speculating on the potential PR risks. Advertisers took notice too, with several brands reportedly in talks to book the pair for joint campaigns, capitalizing on their newfound image as the nation's most talked-about duo. Meanwhile, fans became amateur detectives. Online forums buzzed with theories, photo comparisons, and supposed sightings of the two together in recent months. One fan claimed to have seen them at a quiet cafe weeks before the awards. Another insisted they spotted matching accessories in separate Instagram posts. Theories piled up, each more detailed than the last, till the line between fact and speculation blurred beyond recognition. Through it all, Jun-ho and Yoona remained silent, appearing at separate schedules and avoiding direct commentary. Yet their silence only made the public more certain that there was something to hide. When Yoona attended a brand event 2 weeks later, she was asked point-blank about the kiss. She smiled, shook her head, and replied, "It was a special night. Let's leave it at that." Room erupted in knowing laughter, but no one could ignore the way her cheeks flushed ever so slightly. For Jun-ho, the moment seemed to mark a shift in how he carried himself in public. In interviews that followed, there was a new playfulness in his tone, a readiness to let teasing comments about romance slide without immediate denial. Some called it confidence, others called it recklessness, but either way, his name on everyone's lips. Months later, when the MBC Drama Awards kiss was still being referenced in pop culture jokes and fan-made merchandise, it became clear that this was more than just an awards night scandal. It was a moment that had rewritten the narrative of two of Korea's most beloved stars, whether as a real-life love story in progress or the most brilliantly executed piece of award show theater in years. And perhaps that was the beauty of it. Whatever it was, belonged to Junho and Yoona alone. The rest of the world. The magic was in the mystery, the way a single, unexpected kiss could send an entire audience to its feet. Make millions across the globe hit replay. Remind everyone that sometimes, in the carefully scripted world of entertainment, the most unforgettable moments are the ones no one sees coming. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of the most talked about nights in recent memory. Time, curiosity, and passion for these stories are what keep us bringing you the drama, the romance, and the magic, straight from the red carpet to your screen. We appreciate your support and can't wait to share the next big moment with you.